Hey guys, welcome back. We're here about to start Unit 2 with powers of 10. Some of you may remember talking about powers last year when you squared numbers. We're going to take it a little bit farther this year since you're now in 7th grade. So we're going to look at our worksheet. Here we are, exponential form, long form, short form, and fraction form. We're talking about the powers of 10. The interesting thing about powers of 10 is that there are lots of patterns. I want you to notice the patterns and think about them as you see them from the work that I'm doing. The patterns are very important for this topic. So we're going to start with the first one, 10 to the 4th power. The long form, this is 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. All right, if we write it in the short form, it's just 1 and then 1 0, 2 0, 3 0, 4 zeros. As a fraction, it's a whole number, so it's just 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. We don't really use this all that often when we have whole numbers. 10 to the 3rd, the next one. 10 times 10 times 10. The short form would be 1 followed by 1, 2, 3 zeros. And again, we can write this in fraction form as 1,000 over 1, but you're not really going to see that a lot. 10 squared, most of us already know this. 10 squared is just 100, 1 followed by 2 zeros. Again, the fraction form would be 100 divided by 1. And 10 to the 1st, just 10. 10 times nothing, there's nothing there, so it's 10. And again, its fraction form would be 10 over 1. Now, 10 to the 0 is probably something that you've never seen before, but if we look at the pattern that's happening, here we have, let me get my highlighter, here we have 10 to the 4th, 1, 2, 3, 4 tens. Here we have 10 to the 3rd, 3 tens, 10 to the 2nd, 2 tens, and then 10 to the 1st, 1 10. So 10 to the 0, let's just get rid of that 0 at the end. It's just going to be a 1. It's going to be a 1 right here. The short form, just a 1, and the fraction form, 1 over 1, which we know is 1. So now to something that you probably haven't seen before. These negative exponents. So with a negative exponent, it's really not all that difficult. We're going to keep following this pattern we saw before, but instead of the zeros growing, our number is actually going to shrink. Our short form, let's start with the fraction form this time. We're going to start with 1 over a 10. That negative exponent puts the 10 in the denominator. So if we have 1 over 10, we know from the last unit that's simply 0.1. And again, the long form, that would be 1 divided by 10 for 1/10. The fraction form for 10 to the negative 2 would be 1 over 100, or 0.01. And that be 1 divided by 10 times 10, or 1 over 100. For 10 to the negative 3, we'd start again with 1 over 1,000, or 1 divided by 10 times 10 times 10. And that's 1/1000, 1 over 1,000. So 10 to the negative 4th, can you guess what's going to happen? Yep, 1 over 10,000, or 0.0001. 1 divided by 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. So as we moved through this chart, our numbers got smaller and smaller and smaller. you can see that none of these numbers are negative. Even though this section right here had negative exponents, none of the numbers in this section are negative numbers. That's very important that you remember that a negative exponent does not make a negative number. So let's go down to the next little section here. And it says, notice the patterns for the powers of 10. We've already talked about a few of the patterns for powers of 10. We always begin with the number 1. Even though sometimes we had 0 point something, the end number was 1 because we were taking 1 and we were dividing it by that power of 10. The positive exponent, move the decimal to the right, very good. And this created a bigger number. This makes the number bigger. We multiply by 10, or we're multiplying rather, for some correct English, we're multiplying by 10. The negative exponents, we move the decimal to the, very good, to the left to make the number smaller. Notice it does not say to make a number negative. I want you to really, really remember that negative exponent does not mean negative number. And we are simply dividing by 10 here. So then the bottom part of your worksheet, this part right here, is the you tried. This is going to be the homework. We are going to be checking this. Ooh, that's an R, okay. Homework. We're going to be checking this in class. When you're working on this, I want you to keep going back up to the top of your worksheet and looking at these examples. The examples show you the pattern that you can use on this section. We'll see you in class.